Hey guys, Steve here with Utah Outdoor Adventures, and today I am going to be testing some gear. As you can see, I have on my Coleman rain suit, and I also have along with me in my pack Frogg Toggs rain suit as well. If you've seen my Thrift Store Thursday episode where I found this Coleman rain suit for $5 at a thrift store, you're already familiar with it. I tried it on, it didn't breathe well, it was really hot and sweaty, but to give it a fair chance, I decided to wait for a day like today. We are at the South Ogden Splash Pad and Nature Park, of course in Utah, and let me give you a look at what we're dealing with. This is today, and only today, because it's not going to rain tomorrow. As you can see, not a soul here as I expected. Over that way is our trail. There's a paved part of the nature park, but there's also an unpaved part, and that's the part I'm going to take. I'm dressed in hiking shoes for the mud and moisture wicking clothing underneath, except for the fleece, hat, and cover. I am dressed in layers. I also have some cotton thermals on because I don't have any synthetics yet, and frankly I want to see how well these protect me from getting the cotton wet, because cotton is the worst thing you can get cold and wet in, which I don't recommend anytime you're out in the outdoors. But for today's experiment and for the money I have in my bank account, this is what we're doing. So here we go. Here's the full view of my suit. As you can see, I've got it on bottoms and tops. Little Coleman insignia. Has a hood. I'll be wearing that so that, you know, I can look even more ridiculous while I'm out here hiking through people's neighborhoods and the trails and whatnot. But this is a good gear test, and frankly, it's the only way to do it. It's only Wednesday, so I can't really get out and do an overnighter in this, so we're just going to take a hike in the mud and the rain and see what happens. Over here is my pack. Walmart, I don't know, $8 pack. Just a day pack, a little cheap thing. You've probably also seen that in some of my videos. All I have in here is water, a small camera tripod, a Cliff Bar, and the Frogg Toggs that I'll be changing into halfway through the hike. So that's it. That's all I brought with me. I'm not very far from home. I have a first aid kit in here. It's an in and out hike that's very short, maybe half mile. So it should do its job, as the rain has been coming down steady and should be until 11 p.m. tonight. Right now it's about 11 a.m. So let's get started and see how this goes. Oh, also, I'm using a different camera today. This is my waterproof, shockproof, you name it, proof camera. I've used this for most of my early videos, and then I switched over to something more convenient that has a flip screen so I can see myself when I'm filming. So if I get any shots in here that are a bit off on my face and that kind of thing, it's probably because I can't see what I'm filming when I point it at myself. So anyway, bear with me. We'll make the best of this. This camera is also good down to 20 degrees above 0 Fahrenheit. So we should be fine. It is roughly 38 to 40 degrees right now, so it's chilly. I also brought some gloves for the hands if things get a little too chilly, but so far it's been okay. It's not bad. Plus we'll be walking, and it'll generate some heat, and we'll see how well these breathe. Let's get going. Okay, so here's our view of the nature park itself. As you can see, it's a paved trail. That over there is Hill Air Force Base in the distance, and the trail goes all the way around. I believe it's something like 1.87 miles round trip. So I'm already getting water on my lens, but we're going over this way. We're going to go down over where that little break in the hills is located. So let's get going. I have to tell you, when I put this thing on, you notice I've tied it up here because I was getting hit with rain all over my face. But when I put this suit on, the hardest part was putting the pants on over my hiking shoes. As you can see, they're kind of big hiking shoes, mostly because I'll be hiking in mud. And realistically, if you were in the wilderness camping and it started raining, you would most likely not take off your shoes to put on your rain gear. So a plus for this suit and a minus: it fit over my shoes so that I could not have to worry about taking off my shoes. But also the minus is it was hard to put my shoes through this without tearing it, so I had to be really careful when I put them on. So here's our trail. This muddy thing you almost don't notice as you're walking along here is the trail we'll be taking. Already it's slippery, muddy. People see me up there in their houses, probably think I'm nuts, but once we get down that way towards the town of Uinta, we won't be dealing with people really at all. As you can see, the entire nature park is surrounded by houses and neighborhoods. But where we're going should be pretty secluded. We've got a house just right up here. Very muddy so far. Yuck. But hey, I'd rather be hiking in the rain and the mud with you fine people than sitting in the house going out of my mind trying to figure out how not to be bored today because it's raining. Now, I've been on this trail before with my kids and my dog, Bob. And that was just a slideshow I threw up on my blog. I never even turned it into a video. So this is the first time I've been on this trail and made an actual film out of it. As you can see, our trail goes over this way, winds through that field, and goes up over that ridge and into those trees. Not a difficult hike at all. Very kid-friendly, very easy. Except today, very muddy, so I'll be walking in this grass a lot so I don't fall on my butt. So far, the Coleman rain suit's holding up nicely, actually. Based on my test at home, which wasn't an accurate test anyway, which is why I prefer to do these field tests of the equipment, realistic ones. The test at home, I got really overheated and sweaty just putting it on. I wasn't even moving around, so far I don't feel that way. I feel like everything's breathing okay, even with the fleece on. Here's our view. Sorry about the water. That's how it is when it's raining. Down into the void of no return. I'm just kidding. That's actually Uinta. And South Weber. South Weber is, Uinta is up close, South Weber's off in the distance. Hill Air Force Base is up on top. Out of breath. We just came up an incline from that direction, and we've come to a fork in the road. we keep going that way, we'll end up back at the nature trail. We're not going that way. We're going this way. Into the sagebrush. And our view just keeps getting better. Pretty cool to live in an area where you can urban hike and get such views. Look how the erosion has worn this hillside away. You can see that this used to be connected to that. I can only imagine what days and days of rain would do to this. I bet this walkway, people used to walk right across here instead of just on this path. It's getting really close. Probably every year. That vegetation looks like it was uprooted recently within the, I don't know, last few years or so. Maybe even more recent. There's not a lot of weeds growing in on the dirt, which tells me it collapsed. You know, I'm no expert. I'm just saying, if I'm going to theorize, it looks like it collapsed last year, maybe. I don't know. Don't know if you can hear the traffic down there. Highway I-84 runs right through that valley. Thankfully, the planes aren't flying today. It's very hard to talk. If you saw my Glassman Pond video where I was ice fishing, quote unquote ice fishing, the planes were out in full force and you couldn't even hear me speak in places. So I'm grateful that they've decided to stay in their jammies and keep warm so I can get out here and freeze my butt off. Into the trees we go. This trail, as it peels off. I wonder where that goes. I'll have to check that out another time. I've never, it looks like it might go back up to that neighborhood, but I'm not sure. So as you can see, it's become pretty secluded from people. Those houses way down there, pretty far away. There's no footprints on the trail that are recent. No muddy ones anyway. So down there we have the train tracks. How beautiful that is. Isn't that incredible? What a beautiful place. It's like we're getting snow. Those are mountains behind those clouds, huge ones. And there's no doubt there's snow falling on them right now. We need it. It's been a very dry winter. So I've thought about this. My wife and I go on a date every Friday, every Saturday, one of those days. I've thought about coming here and sitting on this hillside. I don't know if you can tell on the camera, that's pretty level. You could throw down a blanket, have dinner, and look out over this incredible scenery. And maybe some people might walk by with their dog or something, but not too much to worry about. Down we go. Alright, so I'm starting to sweat. And I'm starting to feel that this doesn't breathe well. It's not killing me. It's not to the point where I can't stand it anymore. I have to take it off. But it is a little uncomfortable. So I'm not cold or hot. I'm just humid. I feel like I'm in a sauna a little bit. Look at this awesome tunnel of trees. Keep hearing something up there. One thing I carry with me for protection, because I'm not naive. Let me show you here. I've dropped it. Okay, only thought I dropped it. Thank goodness I didn't. I carry this with me. Hopefully I'm pointing that in the right place. This is a can of police issue pepper spray. It's not so much for the animals as it is for people. You never know what kind of weirdos might be in a place like this. And I'm not so naive as to think it's not going to happen. I'm by myself, and at least I have a way to protect myself. I also have a small hip taser that I carry. I don't worry so much about animals. They don't like people so much. But even they come with their own defense mechanisms when they're out and about, you know. A little upset. Here's the end of our trail where this gate is. And my memory card is already full. So I'm going to stop recording, switch to the Frogg Toggs, and hope I can get some footage on the way back. And then I'll get home and tell you what I think of both. Okay, just real quick. In the Frogg Toggs, it just occurred to me, I have my cell phone. Thank goodness for that, huh? I think the other camera takes better video, but that's alright. This does a good job. We're hiking back now. You can actually see how much more green it is in my phone, I think. It's sleeting. I don't know if you can tell, it switched from rain to a rain-snow mix. Muddy, muddy trail. So muddy. Ugh. Okay, so I'm really impressed. I might as well give you my impressions now with the Frogg Toggs. The Colemans are in the $23 range. Why don't you buy them at a thrift store for $5 like I did? And these are about 18 bucks. And one downside, no pockets. I had pockets in the Coleman rain suit, but that's the only downside. I got a backpack. I got a pocket, my fleece inside, so not a big deal. The idea is to keep dry in a situation like this. I'm using a Samsung SG Mini. Can't remember what it's called. It's a new phone, fairly new to me. And this thing is taking a beating. I have to hand it to you guys. You know what you're doing. I'm not a big Apple or iPhone guy, so thumbs up to Samsung, Android, for me being able to still record this incredible beauty. And I don't mean my face. Stop. You can see over there towards the mountains, it's really coming down snow-wise. And I'm walking on the grass because all I'm doing in the mud now is sliding. That white dome in the distance is the approximate location of the nature trail. Apologize for being so out of breath. It's all uphill now. Still an easy hike. I wouldn't even call it moderate, but definitely uphill all the way back. Everybody snuggled into their ginormous houses that they feel they need, I guess. You know, I mentioned that a lot in a few of my videos about giant houses and how much do people really need. I really feel that way. I live in an average house on an average street, and in a couple of years or so it's going to be down to me, Joanna, and the two little guys, Dylan and Jude. And when that happens, we're going to downsize. We just don't need so much house. It's just a status symbol. That's all it ever is. Look how much money I make. Look how far I've come in life. Johnny Cash said, we'll all be equal under the grass. And that's absolutely true. Yeah, I have to kind of laugh because if I were sitting up in one of those houses and I saw some guy hiking in the rain, I'd think he was nuts. And then if I saw him hiking in the rain in a white rain suit, I would think, well, at least he's prepared. And then as he returned, he was in a blue rain suit. I would think I was hallucinating. My glasses are foggy and rained on. You'll have to forgive me. This isn't a fashion show. Look at this. It's beautiful. Okay, another thought on the Frogg Toggs that's probably for me a minus. The ties come right here, whereas on the Coleman they were down further. Right here I have kind of a cleft below my lip, and if I were hiking a lot in the rain for miles and miles, I'm telling you that would really get irritated right there. So tie it under the chin, you'd be alright. Maybe you don't care about that, it's just a personal observation. We're almost back to the nature trail. It's been a fun hike. I don't know why more people don't do this. Mud, mud, mud. Look at those shoes. Yeah. More uphill. I think this is the last hill. It levels out after this. There's the nature trail. And that was the last hill. Thank goodness. Doesn't look like anybody's on the trail, running or otherwise. So, I'm just gonna hoof it back to the car. And we'll talk a little bit in the car, and we'll call it good. It's back to rain now. The threatening snow is gone. But that may have been because we were over that ridge. And look at my footprints. You. Okay guys, we're back in the car. 37 degrees outside, still raining steady. My pack needs a pack cover. That little pack is not waterproof. It was a good test though, there's nothing majorly important in it. My cameras I've kept in this little pocket underneath the rain gear, so that's been okay. Except when I've had to get it out. Thank goodness for this little phone. It saved my butt on the video. I thought you were only going to get half a video and a bunch of explanations as to why it didn't work. So anyway, I got to get home. My son Murphy's watching Dylan and Jude, the little ones, and it's still raining. Hope you've enjoyed this episode. Hope it helped inform you better about what's out there, what kind of rain gear is out there, at least a couple of different brands and the pluses and minuses of both. If it were me, I would just go with the Frogg Toggs. Still got the pants on. And not the Coleman, because PVC just doesn't cut it. It doesn't breathe. It's heavy. And personally, I think it'd probably rip a lot easier than the Frogg Toggs would. So that's it. That's my review of the Coleman rain suit and the Frogg Toggs rain suit out in the field in reality, where it would most likely be pissing down rain on you, and all you could do is throw on your rain suit. Hopefully you have a good set of Frogg Toggs with you. They're actually more affordable than the Coleman PVC version. Coleman might be good for a sporting event, sitting in the bleachers watching something if you're into that, but I wouldn't recommend them for hiking. So there you have it. Bob Jr. says hi, and it's still raining. Strange kind of love, strange kind of feeling swims through your eyes, and like the doors to a wide, vast dominion, they open to your eyes. This is no terror ground or place for the rage. No broken hearts, whitewashed lies. Just a taste for the truth, perfect taste, choice and meaning. A look into your eyes. Gemstone, alone, a smile from a frown circles round. Should he stay or should he go? Let him shout a rage so strong, a rage that knows no right or wrong, and take a little piece of you.